Hi, ladies. This is Beryl speaking. So we have our host in already, Mr. Ade Famoti. He's the Africa Director for Oracle, and he's going to take us through this session, the cybersecurity session. We're already 2 minutes past our starting time. We're just going to begin as we wait for the others to join in. So, Mr. Ade, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Beryl. Okay, can everybody see my screen? If you can see my screen. Rita, can you can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Sorry, just before you begin, maybe I can let everyone know that it's going to be an interactive session. So if anyone has questions in between the presentation, you can just probably lift your hand or interject somewhere in the middle, so the session can be a bit interactive. Yeah. It's okay, Ade, you can continue.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Ade Famoti, and okay, I just got muted by the host.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So I work with the Oracle Corporation here in Africa, primarily based in Nairobi, Kenya. Oracle, just by way of introduction, is a global technology company that is based in 175 countries, and we service our customers with our on-premise solutions across industries, and also cloud-based technologies across different markets, private sector, public sector. Okay, so that said, today we'll be having a conversation about cybersecurity, and with a focus on data privacy and security. So this is just a safe harbor statement. Nothing here is product direction. Okay. If it's okay, I would like the participants, because it's a small group, if it's okay, maybe we can do some very small introductions also. I would like to know who's on the call, a little bit about you before we start. Before I go into the two things that I want us to get away from this presentation. So if that's okay, so anyone can start randomly.
Okay, maybe I'll start.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I can start.
Okay.
Most of you, the other ladies have met me. We met with you, Ade. I'm Beryl. I work as a project manager at Gaga Experiential.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Sorry, I'm Jackie. I run Nyanam International, which is a non-profit that builds the capacity of widows to lead positive social changes in the community. And yes, I'm curious to learn about cybersecurity.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks, Jackie.
Hi, this is Mary Mbaka. I'm a youth soccer coach based at Ruiru. The name of the team is Hearts of Ruiru Sports Center. And we are using soccer to address various social issues that the youths are going through in our society. We are more keen on drug abuse and juvenile delinquency. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, anyone else wants to go? Okay, any of the participants, just introduction, a bit about yourself, what you would like to get from this presentation.
Winnie.
Is there anyone else who would like to tell us a bit about yourself? There's still some more people. No? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start.
Hi.
And okay. So there are two key things that I'd like us to get from this cybersecurity presentation. The first one is around, as a takeaway, is around preventing data breaches and the importance of preventing data breaches. And the second one is really around managing private data of individuals. And those two are very, very key in how you govern and consider cybersecurity. Those are some of the, there's so many considerations around cybersecurity, but those two are like almost the top two considerations in cyber. That said, so let me go to the next slide. Just to speak around high-level trends in security and cybersecurity in general, as it pertains to the industry. The first one is really around data breaches have become bigger and bolder than they used to be. So many years ago, cybersecurity was not a big thing, but now it's a boardroom conversation. It's discussed in government circles. It's discussed at the highest levels of industry. So today, cybersecurity concerns not just people in technology. It concerns people doing accounting. If you're an accountant, this is a very key thing to consider: cybersecurity, the security of your books and of the data. It concerns governments, security companies. It concerns even us as consumers in our personal lives. The devices that we carry, the phones, the laptops that we use, the information that we store in the cloud, they're all subject to cybersecurity and breaches. In the last few years, this comes at a cost also. It's estimated that about $80 billion is spent every year on cybersecurity. And just on IT security, just on the security aspect, and this is estimated to even increase even up to $1 trillion. So cybersecurity is not just prominent, but it's also coming at a huge cost. For every breach of data in a cybersecurity incident, you can estimate at least about 7.35 million in terms of losses. So you can quantify those losses to companies or to governments or people that have been subject to cybersecurity breaches. So the challenges that the industry is facing today is a shortage of security skills. So this is a good time to be a cybersecurity expert. Go take a course. Go brush up your skills. If you're in cybersecurity, enhance your skills so you can get even better. There's also a huge gap in organizations around the world and even here in Kenya. Many organizations don't even know they're vulnerable. They don't know. They don't know that anything can happen to their data or that it could be costly. So let's speak around data privacy, just so everyone is clear what this means. So data privacy is the relationship between the collection and dissemination of data, technology, and the public expectation of privacy, and the legal and political issues that surround them. That's what we call data privacy. So in Kenya, we have the Data Privacy Act in Kenya, the Kenya DPA. Around the world, we have GDPR, which is basically European-based. So there's data security is not just something we desire, it's also something that has legal implications. And if you don't meet those legal requirements, you have fines, you have punishments and reprimands for those. So this data security itself means protecting the data and the privacy. So all of us on this call, the people that we do business with, they have the legal rights to protect our data and not share it with the world. When they share it with the world, they have to tell us. So this is just keeping those definitions in mind. So let's speak about a breach. So what is a breach? So a cybersecurity breach will be considered when there's an unauthorized access or acquisition of data. Okay? Now, the key word there is unauthorized. If nobody permitted or there was no permission to get that data, that is a breach. So I'll give you a very simple example. If somebody can go to a company in Kenya without your permission, and they can see all the information, all the activities you've done with this company, maybe it's your cable company, your phone company, your bank, that is a breach because it was without your permission, and it was without the bank's permission. If someone could have access to any of your data without authorization, that is a breach. That is the most basic definition of a cybersecurity breach. And just to be clear, if you have a good faith acquisition, so let's say a phone company in Kenya that you use, not to mention names, if they sell your information to another third party, that you cannot call that a breach, because that is, it was used for business, okay? Maybe with your permission, or perhaps without your permission, right? So just to be clear what the breach is. I want to speak about, actually, before I speak about this, any comments so far or questions? I know one more person has joined. Any questions or comments from anyone? Please don't be shy, otherwise I would have to call your names. Because I promise this will be interactive. Okay, all right, the next question I'll have to cold call someone to give a comment or a question. So let's speak about components of cybersecurity risk. Basically, what does this mean in simple terms? All the ways you can lose when you're subject to a cybersecurity breach. One, there's a risk that an insider can commit fraud. Okay? So a company or a school or a business, an insider can commit fraud. What is the risk? You can lose money. That organization can lose money. Because fraud, they can, means the organization has lost some consideration, some goodwill. You've lost some assets, something. Number two is insider can leak sensitive data. So imagine somebody in the government leaking data, or someone in a company leaking data about future innovation, future strategy. That brand can lose, you can lose your IP, which is quantifiable, or you can lose your brand, right? So information must be preserved, okay? it must be inside an organization. So cybersecurity is about governing and protecting that sensitive data. The third is hackers can hold you to ransom. So this one is new. We've been seeing more where hackers can steal your data and say, if you don't send money or send Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or something, they will not release your data. We've actually seen viruses where the virus locks the machine, it encrypts it, and the hackers leave you a note. Go to this website, pay some money, we will release your data. So you can actually lose money if you're not focused on cybersecurity. The fourth aspect is your data could be corrupt. Imagine all the information you had since you were on campus, or all the information a big company has. And because they don't have the right security, a hacker comes and corrupts all that data. Just imagine how much they can lose. Not just control, goodwill, public relations, money, all the fines they could be subject to by losing all that data. So this is a huge risk to companies also. So I'll just rush through the remaining three or four. A hacker can steal your data. So imagine you have a big innovation. You're about to release a product. An organization is about to release a product. And that information is stolen. Imagine that. The next best thing, better than iPhone. Someone develops it, but it's now stolen. Imagine the billions they could lose. Okay? A hacker can disable your e-commerce. So maybe you're an Alibaba or an Amazon. If you don't have the right security, you can lose business for the day, business for the week. So just imagine that. Or maybe it's Safaricom. Imagine in Safaricom, people cannot send M-Pesa all day. Imagine how much they will lose if hackers have access to that. So I'm highlighting this to show the risk of cybersecurity. It's not just a nice fancy topic. It's a topic that has grave implications to losing money, losing IP, losing reputation, losing brand, losing so many things, losing business, losing customers. So it's very, very, very key. And this is not just, so everyone needs to focus on cybersecurity. Either you're a government, you're a school, you're an individual, anyone and everyone should focus on cybersecurity. So let's speak a bit more around, what people typically say when we talk about cybersecurity. You will hear things like, oh, it won't happen. We're just a school. Nobody needs anything from us. Or, oh, there's nothing on my phone. I don't need cybersecurity. Or, these are some of the complacencies that people say. The second thing is people say, oh, it will never happen to us. Nobody wants to. We're a church. Nobody has the motivation to hack a church, and it makes people relax their cybersecurity. You will hear things like, it will never happen to us. We're so good. We're a bank. We've been buying security for so long. Our defenses are too good. That is wrong. Or you will hear things like, if it happens, we know what to do. We're on top of it. And I'm sure some of you have heard those sort of comments. Then lastly, there's the people that say, what do we do if it happens? So, but the action is for everyone to not fall within these 5 buckets. Never be in a situation where you say it will not happen to us, or nobody has a motivation, we have nothing. Never fall into these categories. Always be ready. So I'll pause there again to take any sort of feedback or comments from the participants. If any of this, I'm interested in your thoughts and your comments so far. Anyone? Okay, I promise I will cold call someone. So Jacqueline, any thoughts on any of this so far before I go on? Okay, everyone is on mute. Can anyone even hear me? Let me. Please, can someone acknowledge you can even hear me? Because I'm hearing
you.
Okay. 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 So everyone can hear me, but you're just a bit shy in giving me your comments. Okay. All right. All right. So a bit more around the cybersecurity risk. In a weighted scale, a breach or hack can totally shut down your operation, shut down the business. You cannot do anything. You know, that will be the highest in terms of cybersecurity breach, when the business cannot function at all. The second would be, for example, when e-commerce is compromised, people's cards are stolen, or they cannot pay, or they cannot receive payment. And that goes all the way down to like extortion, where they actually extort you. Just the way in real life someone says, oh, I have something that belongs to you. Let me have your, you know, you need to pay. They can do that with cybersecurity. So, but the highest would be total operational shutdown. When they shut you down completely, that is the worst of cybersecurity breaches. So I'll speak about some case studies of where I call it examples of where bad things happen to good people, or where bad things happen to good companies. Okay, and these are all public stories. So any of them you can verify. They're not confidential. They're all on the internet. And what I'm trying to do here is to show you the risk that sometimes we overlook in cybersecurity. And even some of those names on this screen, they're some of the biggest companies in the world, right? They could afford, you know, to have the right security in place. But what happened? What really happened? We will look at what happened, and we'll also look at what they did and who suffered, who got punished for those breaches. So please, someone confirm that you can still see my screen, please, because I'm hearing no feedback from anyone. You can see the screen?
Yes,
yeah,
I can
the screen share, you can see the top.
You can see the screen.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. So let's talk about JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase is one of the biggest banks in the world. They're based in the US and so many countries. And this case study is about how JP Morgan Chase lost their customer data. That should be scary to anyone on the call. So imagine your bank calling you or emailing you saying, we lost your data. The first thing you're asking is, to who? What did you lose? You know. So JP Morgan, the facts about this case, Russian hackers hacked JP Morgan data center. This is a bank that has millions of customers. And they basically gained access to 40 million customer records. They got the customer's name, they got their addresses where they live, they got their phone numbers and their email. If you imagine yourself as a bank customer, what you heard just now should scare you. When some people know your name, your address, your phone number, and your email. So these hackers also discovered so many things related to JP Morgan's architecture and all their applications. Okay, so what were the consequences of the cybersecurity breach? Number one, there was lots of negative press, negative news about JP Morgan Chase in the paper, in the media, online. So this affected their brand image. You know, if a bank should tell any of us today, if this should happen to any of our banks today, all of us would be wondering, is this the right bank for me to be in? Should I move my bank to, the next one somewhere in Upper Hill? Should I move it to the next one in town? You will start to think, is this bank even safe? Is my money safe? So there's a brand and image impact that JP Morgan experienced. At the same time, there was a 4% drop in price share. So this is a company listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So because of that, people started to sell the stocks of this company. They were dumping the stocks and the price fell. And 4% looks like a small number, but 4% of a big company, 4% of a big share price is a lot, is billions. So, and that would not make shareholders very happy. Thirdly, consequence, JP Morgan Chase had to double their cybersecurity spend to $500 million per annum, $500 million. So because of that breach, they had to spend more. So if you look at those consequences in terms of cost, what the public feels about their brand and their image, how the stock price and share price was affected, and how they had to spend more to protect their IT, then you can start to see how serious this was. So what were the lessons that JP Morgan Chase, JPMC, as some people call them, what were the lessons they got from this and that we all got from this? Number one, prevention is virtually impossible against zero-day attacks. So zero-day attack in cybersecurity, what we call zero-day attack, is an attack where it's not been done before. They're seeing it for the first time on that day. That's what they call a zero-day attack. It's hard to prevent. But if you have the right awareness and anticipation of attacks, then you may be able to prevent it, okay? Secondly, detection and response is very key. And thirdly, if the media, thirdly, if the media wants a smoking gun, they will find one. So what does that mean? JP Morgan Chase, the media really criticized them, that they were not fully ready as a big bank. So, big clients have to, big organizations have to think about this in terms of you will come under a lot of scrutiny if you don't have the right security in place. When a breach happens, people will criticize you. They will find something, they will look until they find something that you didn't do. The next one is, one second, is a case around, excuse me, is a case around personally identifiable information. We call it PII in cybersecurity. So PII is any information that can identify an individual. Okay, name, address, phone number, M-Pesa, any of those things. So this case study is about a hotel group called Wyndham. For those that know Wyndham, they're based in the US and many countries. They own a lot of small hotels. So I'll increase this so you can see it on the screen. Wyndham, and you can Google this company. They own Ramada Inns, Hawthorne, Travel Lodge, Days Inn. They own so many companies, small hotel companies, okay? So this is a very, very big company. So what are the facts around this? So hackers were able to steal personal and financial data of over 619,000 employees and customers. So this is, if any of us, if you want to relate to this, so imagine where you work today and your employer tells you, oh, they've stolen all the HR data, where you live, your children's names, your NMSF, your NHIF, your taxes, your KRA. They've stolen everything. So this is no joke. So what were the consequences of this issue? Their shareholders sued the board members. So imagine a public company in Kenya, this happens, and the shareholders are saying all the board members will sue you personally for duty of care. So what does this mean? It's not just the company that can suffer. Even you as an officer of your company, you can be sued. Okay? Depending on how aggrieved or angry the concerned or affected individuals are. Secondly, they got a federal judge permitted a lawsuit to proceed against the corporation. So just in summary, the lessons learned here, the board has to understand cybersecurity, that it can also affect their personal wealth. Let me break this down. So imagine all the people that are board members in all the big companies in Kenya and in the world. Based on this Wenham case or other cases around the world, if they don't have the right cybersecurity protection in place, and there's a breach, and customers suffer or employees suffer, they can individually be sued, the board members. So what does this mean? Cybersecurity is not just for the techies. It's not just for the people that are technology savvy. Even business people, people that are strictly business people, presidents and CEOs and board members have to keep their eye on cybersecurity, otherwise they can lose their personal wealth when they're sued. This is very key. So before I go into the third case, I have to take comments or questions from the participants. Maybe at this point I have to start giving prizes. so Mary and Vera, I hope I'm okay to give small promissory prizes to anyone who gives a good comment or question.
Okay, I'm just following. See who will come up with a question. But maybe if I may add, I think how you've explained for JP Morgan Chase, I think there was a case that happened in Kenya. I think it was in KCB some years back, in ARA, I think. Can you confirm that such a case happened?
So I'm not aware of the KCB or KRA case specifically, but I can look into that and get back to you and the other participants. But I can tell you for free that East Africa is on the map for hackers, and particularly Kenya. And the reason for that, when I say particularly Kenya, I'll give you the reason for that. So Kenya has some of the smartest brains in the world, right? And they're young, okay? And this is the era and the age of technology. And Kenya has 95% we call internet penetration. So what does that mean? Access to internet. Even the people in the deepest shags in Kenya have internet, okay? So what happens is it puts anywhere there's a lot of internet penetration, the country has internet. It makes the region a bit more vulnerable to cyber attacks. Yeah, because cyber attacks typically come over network, over the internet. Then when you have incredibly smart minds that are into technology, into innovation, for them, they're experimenting, they're testing things out. And it's not just people within a region, even people outside of a region find interest in a region that has lots of internet access. So I don't know specifics about those cases you mentioned, but because this region is on the map, I can tell you there's lots and lots of activity, cyber activity, unauthorized activity happening in the region. Yeah. So please make your passwords very strong. But thanks for the comments. Any other comments before we go on?
So this is Jackie. You had mentioned that there can be no zero-day attacks. And in such a context, why would officers and board members be made liable or be sued when there is an attack?
Well, so, in the case of Wyndham, the case was, they call it duty of care. It's like when you leave a baby with a babysitter, a nanny, the nanny cannot prevent everything that happens to the baby, right? But there's a certain and reasonable duty of care that you think the nanny should have. Yeah, on the child. Like, don't let the child go to the balcony or touch fire or touch electricity. That's a duty of care. So in the case of board members, I don't think they could be liable if a company gets hacked or there's a breach per se. But let's say, for example, there's a breach. Then as we start to investigate, we find out that, maybe the IT department wanted to buy some technology products to prevent attacks. And the board said, no, it's too expensive, we're not ready, it would never happen to us. In that sort of situation, then they could be sued for a duty of care. Or let's say, for example, they don't even have an IT security expert working for them. And they're a big company, they're a bank. Then they could be liable for duty of care. I'm using those just as examples, but those things are typically determined in a court of law. It's not by individuals. Somebody can accuse you of duty of care, but it doesn't necessarily mean the judge will agree, right? It has to be determined in court. But at least if you lose that case, then there will be big problems. So that's how I can interpret duty of care. There's a reasonable care the nanny should have over the baby. But the nanny cannot protect everything 24/7. If the baby has malaria or not. No, if mosquito bites the baby has malaria. Right? So I'm using that just as a humorous example, but that's the way they can be liable. Yeah? So good question, Jackie. I don't know did I answer your question or yeah?
You answered it very well, thank you.
Okay. Very good. So let's talk about this third scenario around cybersecurity. It's credit card data. I'm sure everyone on this call has either M-Pesa or a debit card in your wallet. Okay, so this one will really interest you. A debit card or credit card, as long as they have Visa and MasterCard, you're carrying something, yeah. So this was this company called, some people call it Target, some people call it Target. I don't know how to really pronounce it, but we call it Target. We're African. So this company is one of the biggest retailers in the world. I think this guy is much bigger than equivalent of our Naivas or Carrefour or ShopRite, but they're just huge, they're like a Walmart. They compete with Walmart, right? So hackers hack this company, and they gain access to the systems via a contractor. Now, this one is very interesting because cybersecurity, everyone thinks, oh, somebody is on a computer somewhere trying to hack us. But that's not all we call cybersecurity. Cybersecurity could also involve humans, okay? They could come in and physically get access before they hack you. So in this case, it came in through a contractor that used to work for this company. They got 70 million client records. 70, please. What are we in Kenya? We're like 42 or 46 million. I don't know. Somebody keep me honest. So 70 million records. So imagine 70 million credit cards and debit cards all just hacked, okay, with their PIN. So, you know, hacking your credit card or debit card is one thing when they know the number, but when they know your PIN, there's another. So this was a very serious breach. And what made this even more serious was that targets did not notice this between Thanksgiving to Christmas. I think Thanksgiving in the US is around October. I could be wrong, October, November. So imagine for months, for weeks, they did not even notice. There's one thing being hacked. There's another thing not even knowing you're hacked. So what were the consequences? Now, this one, when I present this to law firms, because I present some of the cybersecurity things to law firms, I present it to CEOs, CIOs, top people in companies. When I present the consequences of this case, they get very afraid. The target CEO was fired. The CIO was also fired. Please think about this. The CEO of one of the biggest retailers in the world. This company is bigger. If you take Carrefour, with Naivas, with Nakumatt, with ShopRite, they're bigger than them, all of them combined. Okay? The CEO was fired. So what does this mean? So before cybersecurity became prominent, the CEO would sit in his office and say, oh, we have a director for IT. We have a director for, oh, those guys are taking care of it. It's not my business. My business is to run the company. I'm the CEO. But no, now it is so important to run the business as a CEO, but also keep your eye on protecting your company from cybersecurity breaches. Otherwise, it can affect your job. So please think about this, evangelize this message. It's not just for the techies. People can lose their jobs. Now, their earnings went down, they lost money, customers stopped buying. Because think about this, if Nakumatt or anybody sends all of us an email today, oh, your credit card data was stolen, your password was compromised. I don't think any of us will shop there this evening. We will just go to Naivas down the road. Okay, I don't even know if any of us will shop at Nakumatt if anyone to open, but think about that. They lost money, earnings went down, shares went down, you know, and they had to hire a security officer, a chief information security officer. So what are the lessons from this? The bad guys don't always come through the front door. So while you're looking at your employees, you're suspecting your employees, how about the contractors? They work there temporarily. How about those people that come into your company, they don't even have the right badge to come in? Very, very important. Secondly, or thirdly, is just in terms of lessons, for people that handle credit cards, like retailers, they have something they need to comply with called PCI DSS. Somebody is entertaining us with music. I don't know if we can mute that person. Sorry, Mary or Rita, can we mute? Okay, thank you. So Target failed their PCI DSS compliance. This compliance is for people that handle credit card data. And it was discovered that their compliance audit was flawed. So they got the certification, but they never did a true audit of their PCI DSS. And this is big because as a retailer, if they're not PCI DSS compliant, then they actually stop collecting cards from customers, which will affect their business. So this was a big case. And so I'm trying to just show different case studies to bring this thing home, to make it relatable. So we don't look at cybersecurity as this very sophisticated, this IT thing does not concern me, it's only technology people. No. Everything I have said here concerns individuals, consumers, CEOs. We've seen people lose money. We've seen people lose jobs. We've seen people lose the shareholding. We've seen companies lose their earnings. And this is so, cybersecurity has moved from a techie conversation to boardroom conversation. to the highest levels of the board. So I think I'll get a last case study, and we'll summarize and take questions, comments, or other things from here. Trade secrets. So companies have things they call trade secrets. You know, how Safaricom does M-Pesa today is a trade secret. Okay? If that information was open, everybody will be doing their own M-Pesa type, right? It's a trade secret how, 40 plus million people in Kenya, well, majority of 40 plus million people in Kenya use M-Pesa, and it works. You don't wait 1 day. You don't wait 2 days. Instant. It's a trade secret. It's a trade secret what's in Coca-Cola. It looks black. It tastes really nice when it's cold. It's been around since our grandfathers. But what's inside is a trade secret. There's been many colas, Pepsi Cola, all sorts of something cola, but it's not Coca-Cola because they have a trade secret. Now, this company called Nortel, they lost their trade secrets. So at the time, Nortel, this company was a Canadian company. They don't exist anymore, okay? At the time, they were number 2 in telecommunications networking equipment. So what does this mean? Simple terms. So their equipment will be used everywhere from Airtel, Safaricom, and even in our homes, and even in our offices at the time. At the peak of their business, they were worth 400 billion in market cap. Okay? Huge company. If you convert 400 billion into Kenyan shillings, this will be trillions of shillings. Yeah? Let me tell you what happened here from a cybersecurity standpoint. Nortel trade secrets were breached for a period of 10 years. This is, I don't even know how to express this. 10 years, it's like somebody having an extra key to your house for 10 years, and you did not know. So when you go to Shags, they have a key to your house. When you go to work, they have a key to your house. When you go to the supermarket, they have a key to your house. For a big company that was 400 billion worth, number 2 in their industry worldwide for 10 years. You can Google this. This is not a made-up story. Today, many people on this call may not have heard of Nortel. And this is one of the reasons why. They got careless, okay? And they lost their competitive position to the likes of Huawei today. And I'm sure everyone on this call has heard about Huawei. Okay, I'm not saying Huawei is what was responsible. I'm just saying they lost competitive position. So there are some people competing with them, like Huawei, like Avaya, like Cisco. But because of some of the issues they face, they allow their competitors to catch up with them. So what were the consequences of this breach? This is the biggest one so far. This company went bankrupt. So up to this point, you heard CEO get fired, CIO get fired, people being sued in court. You've heard earnings being lost. But when a company goes bankrupt, that is on another level. The CEO was fired. Him and the senior executives were prosecuted. So please, not only did the company go bankrupt, people face possible jail term. Possible jail. So here are the lessons from this last case study. I would focus on this last highlight as the biggest lesson that I'd like to leave the participants with. You should know at least it's happening. Seriously. You know, in cybersecurity, there's a way you can audit your logs. You can audit your access. You can audit who has access to what. But for 10 years, to not know that somebody has an extra key to your house, I mean, why didn't you change your locks within those 10 years? Just as a routine. Why didn't you change it? Why didn't you change your Ascari within those 10 years? To go 10 years and not know that your house is infiltrated is just unacceptable. And that cost Nortel very badly, and that company went bankrupt. They got bought by another company and they disappeared. If you're under 20 years old, I don't even think you would ever know Nortel. Or if you're under 25, they just disappeared. They died. Okay? So I'll stop there. I hope the case studies were interesting. I used it to make cybersecurity more relatable, to bring it down from technical knowledge to business language in a way that everybody can understand, right? So I hope it was useful. But please, let's take some comments, general comments, any general questions, then we can summarize and we can close. Anyone?
I'll go first. Hi.
Hello? Yeah, sure. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. It's quite useful. I wanted to know how can we protect our data, especially in our social media platforms?
Yeah, social media platforms. Okay, that's a good question. Sorry, who asked that question?
Mary.
Mary. So Mary, don't take this as a legal guidance or expert guidance. It's just regular guidance. On social media, keep away from suspicious social media sites. Keep away from suspicious links when you're in social media. Keep personal information as much as you can from social media. So when I say personal information, you don't need to put your home address on social media. Okay, so the home address factor doesn't mean someone will come to your house. No, that's not what they use it for. Nobody will come to your house. What they may use it for is they can call KCB or Equity Bank and say, oh, I'm Mary. And the people there will say, okay, verify your address. And because they know your address from social media, they will be able to verify that they're you, whereas they're not really you. Okay? So address away from social media. Phone number, as much as you can, away from social media. Okay? To protect yourself. Anything that can identify you, remove it on social media. Even the names of your children, if you can. Because sometimes maybe insurance companies or banks or schools, let's say somebody calls your bank. Your bank can say, okay, what's your name? They say Mary. Okay, where do you live? Okay, I live here in Riru. Okay, what is the name of your child? If they know all that information, they can get access to your accounts because they can successfully impersonate you. So that would be my guidance around social media. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
I hope it was useful.
Yeah.
Jackie here also with a question. So I'm lazy about remembering passwords, and I use, Google Chrome has this function of saving passwords. What's your comment on that? Is it safe, or how to do it safely?
So Jackie, you're not alone, right? All of us, you have to remember and pass up PIN, email. There are too many passwords, so you're not alone, yeah? But here's what I would say. For browsers that help you save passwords, they're not as bad, right? They're not terrible. But please don't have them save your password for your bank account. Please. Don't have them save password for the email that your bank sends you either a code or information. Okay? Don't have them save anything that is critical to you. No, I would never recommend it. And the reason why is if your laptop or your computer is not properly protected, There are ways that hackers can hack your machine and get saved passwords on your browser. That's one. Another way is if you lose your machine or your phone and it's not properly protected and they get access to your laptop, then it's almost like Christmas. You have given that person access using your own laptop into all your personal information, including your bank accounts. So I personally, I don't save any password in the browser. But don't copy me, that's just me. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, any more questions? Or comments, general comments?
I'll ask another one if nobody is ready to. So you've given us case studies of really huge companies, and most of us at Zuri, ladies, we have, small, relatively small nonprofits or companies and all of that. And sometimes we actually, don't even have the resources hire, security or whatever, cybersecurity experts or technicians at that level. What would you recommend that we would be doing to protect data of, probably like beneficiaries that we are serving, or even people, staff in our organization?
Okay, that's a very good one for small businesses. So, okay, I'll go to the basics of small business. So, for example, on the laptop, have an antivirus. Always updated on the antivirus. Never use a laptop, I beg you, in this day and age without antivirus software. Now they call it different names, anti-malware, but something to protect the machine. Please, it's the best 5,000 shillings you can ever spend, or 3,000 shillings to buy, because a lot of us don't like to buy software. After we buy the machine, we want to take it home and have it work. And when they say, oh, you have to buy antivirus, I say, no, please, it's the best 3,000 bob you can ever spend. Secondly, in terms of small business, I would advise you have to be careful about unsolicited email. Very, very key. And I know that in your business, you have lots of unsolicited email, inquiring about this, inquiring about that. But please just try as much as you can to be careful with unsolicited email. So you're not defrauded or they're not trying to get a virus into your machines. Thirdly, and this will be perhaps the best advice I would give. A lot of companies now offer what we call cloud-based services, including Oracle. There's so many other names where they take care. What the cloud offers to you is it takes care of your entire security. You don't have to worry about it. So I'll use an example like if you're a small business, you're using G Suite, like Google Cloud. So the email is run by Google. So you don't have to worry about email. You don't have to buy servers and all that because you're not in that business. Your business is non-profit, right? So they take care of the email. Your files go to G Drive. You don't have to worry about where are my files, who's backing them up, do we have a backup, is this secure? They take care of all of that for you. Okay, and same as this conferencing we're using like Zoom or Google Meet, you don't have to worry about that. So there are many companies that offer services for small businesses where you just pay a monthly fee or an annual fee, and you can go to bed at night. You send receipt email. You don't even care who's backing it up, who's looking after it, who's watching, because those companies that you paid, that is their business. They're doing it for you. Okay? So that would be the best advice that I would give for a small company. I hope that was useful.
Very useful. Thank you, especially about that comment on cloud business administration.
Yeah, just focus on your main business. Don't worry about IT. Yeah. So very good questions. Thank you for being interactive. I love the questions. Any comments, additional questions? It's a very interesting topic. This topic will never go away. When I discussed this topic with lawyers at Oracle, we had a legal roundtable where we had all sorts of lawyers in Kenya, biggest companies in Kenya. They came in the room. And this slide that I've shown you today, I showed them. And they were very uncomfortable. You know, uncomfortable in the sense that they could not wait to go back to their offices to tell their CEOs and their board members, look, there's a lot at stake, you know. So it always gets the attention of people. So yeah. So please, there's no small or basic question or comment before we summarize and wrap up.
I'll just, jump in again finally. So I'm trying to choose between G Suite and Microsoft for cloud business administration. Do you have recommendation of which one is better, either?
Okay. So, sorry, who was that? I didn't see the name on the...
Jackie again.
Oh, that's Jackie. Okay, sorry. So Jackie, you know, I work for Oracle, so even though I'm here almost in personal capacity, I'm also representing Oracle. So some of those names, they compete with Oracle, so I would not recommend them. I will not make recommendations, yeah? But I can tell you that for a small business, so for example, the G Suite, Oracle does not do email, so that's fine. I can, any of those names you mentioned will be good. Many years ago, I used to work for one of those companies that you mentioned, and I know they have, both of them have very solid email platform, very solid collaboration platform for storing files, etc. Yeah? So any of them will do. I don't think one over the other. All of them will, you know, work over the phone and things like that. But I will not make any recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
No, just a comment. Thank you for the session. This is Beryl. Thank you for the session. I personally have learned one or two things outside my field, and maybe if I can request, if you can share the document, then I'll be able to share with the participants on email. And then I'll send a link to
I'll do
that. To all of us.
Okay, I'll do that, definitely.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay, so no, this was very useful. It was also very meaningful for me, so thank you for giving me the opportunity. And it was a very good use of time, and I hope that it was a good use of time for you also.
Yes.
And look forward to perhaps maybe other future engagements in the future. Yeah?
Yes, looking forward to the same.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, thank you, Ade.
Thank you, bye-bye.